This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
Properties of Telecom Limited vandalized at Mount Kegum in Western Highlands Province. China Harbour Engineering Company refused court order on settlement. And PNG Power warns people on illegal power usage. A very good evening. This is Sunday's News. I'm Godwin Eki. Thank you for joining us. Millions of kina have been lost during an act of vandalism on Telecom Limited's properties at Mount Kegum in Baya Lumusa district of Western Highlands Province. This is reported to be the fourth time telecommunication equipment belonging to Telecom Limited have been vandalized, affecting communication services into Western Highlands Province and the surrounding provinces. CEO Amos Tepi also issued a stern warning that relevant actions will be taken with the assistance of police to curb vandalism from continuing.
Telecom Limited is faced with yet another act of vandalism being done to its equipment in one of its main telecommunication towers situated at Mount Kegum in the Western Highlands Province. It was reported that previous vandalism was done just a month ago with a total of 120 solar panels belonging to Telecom Limited completely destroyed through vandalism. 1 month on, and PNG's own telecommunication company is faced with yet another act of vandalism. In an exclusive interview with EMTV News yesterday, CEO of Telecom Limited, Amos Tepi, sounded a strong awareness message to locals surrounding the vicinity of Mount Kegum Tower.
My message to the surrounding communities near Mount Kegum, they should respect the state property and also respect the telecom owned assets, which is up on the mountaintop. And the land itself, it's not under anyone. It's basically 100% titled land belongs to Telecom Limited. So they should restrain from or stop doing criminal activities. And I think it's also under NICTA Act, where they shouldn't vandalize the vital communication system that provide communication.
Speaking from Mount Hagen, head of corporate services for Telecom Limited, Silas Matoli, confirmed through telephone this morning that arrests will be made beginning with community leaders. He further confirmed that services will be degraded. However, their engineers are on site working diligently to restore telecommunication traffic flow. Mr. Matoli then explained the importance of telecommunication traffic that Mount Kegum carries.
It's not only Telecom affected. It's we carry the traffic for New Sky Pacific, where they track the airplanes flying into Hagen. And we also carry traffic for EMTV. We carry traffic for all the FM 100 and the FM stations. And then we also carry traffic for the commercial banks as well. We also carry traffic for the police radio.
EMTV News understands a memorandum of agreement was signed in June of this year by Telecom Limited and the locals, witnessed by police, community leaders and provincial leaders. However, that MOA was breached by this fourth vandalism act done last Wednesday. Although community service packages are given annually to villages surrounding the Mount Kegum Tower, still vandalism acts continue to be a frequent thing. Therefore, police has stepped in and arrests will be made soon. In the meantime, Telecom Limited is working on an alternate route for the diversion of airspace communication system through Ley over to the affected provinces of East and West Sepik, Enga and Western Highlands. Telecom Limited sincerely apologizes to its valued customers for the service degradation. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Since the completion of the construction of the Laloki Bridge in the Central Province by China Harbour Engineering Company Limited in 2018, landowners took the company to court for causing extensive damage to the land where livelihoods of the people were affected. The court battle between the company and the landowners started in 2015, and in 2019 the court proceedings began, and 5 years later the court has gone in favour of the plaintiff. Several meetings and negotiations by the plaintiff and his lawyer with the company have had no proper agreement or settlements, which the matter has now been promoted to the plaintiff and his lawyer filing enforcement proceedings. One of the biggest construction company operating in the region, the China Harbour Engineering Company Limited, is facing hefty fines after failing to engage in settlement for the environmental damages caused and for trespassing on a private land from 2015 to 2018. The empty land you see here is the land about 4 hectares used by China Harbour Engineering Company, which was once a swampland. In order to use this land for their camping site, China Harbour Engineering Company then used the nearby land that belonged to the plaintiff Buni Morua and took almost 2 hectares, a mountain which was dug out to backfill the area they used as their camping site, causing extensive environmental damages and livelihoods affected.
They went over to my land on the other side, which is a portion 1189, which I took them to court. That's the land where they used as a quarry. They extract the wasteland, I mean the land from there to the backfield. This is the soil from there. This is the soil that I'm standing on and you are standing on also. The soil from there, they backfilled it to put up the camping.
Plaintiff Morua added that half of his land was damaged with large amounts of soil removed without any proper consultations.
Almost of, I have a 5.1 hectare, family 5.1 hectare land. It's almost 2 hectares has been extracted from there. It's a mountain itself. We can go and get a side of it, but the mountain, half of the mountain is off.
According to Mr. Morua's lawyer, the land is a state agricultural lease land, and after doing what they did, the environmental damages caused had affected around 79 families that live in the area.
They've done damage to the agricultural state lease. So, like my client has said, because of the damage that was caused to this land, he had to give instructions to us to file a claim for environment damage and trespassing on land.
After the company had moved out in 2018, plaintiff Buni tried to consult with the construction company, but they refused to attend to his plea.
From the 2015 to 2018, the construction ceased here. I've been consulting the office for some of the damages, and then because they were on construction, they have their securities and police or whatever there, so to protect the integrity of the project that they have. So they didn't even actually listen to me. When I want to come and complain, they used to put blocks, like lock the gates and all other things they say. So I said, okay, that's okay. We have a law in place here.
EMTV News, together with the plaintiff Buni Morua and his lawyer Nixon Kayuk, tried reaching out to the China Harbour Engineering Company Limited, but were unable to get through. A construction giant, China Harbour Engineering Company, after failing to appeal nor refused to pay around 13 million kina to the plaintiff following the court's decision, and after several warnings, the plaintiff and his lawyer, after several meetings and phone calls to contact the China Harbour Engineering Company, and with no proper response, had to file the enforcement proceedings. Buni and his lawyer, after meeting twice with the China Harbour Construction Company Limited, enforcement proceedings have been filed for liquidation of the company.
The court ordered both parties, China Harbour and Buni, to consider settlement of this claim. And what China Harbour and their lawyers did was they never paid any attention to the proposal for settlement as directed by the court. In favor of my client Buni, that there was extensive damage done as per report by Professor Calwin. So the court made an award of 7.7 million environment damage, and also the court made a finding that the Chinese Harbour Engineering Company failed to obtain the environment permit under the Environment Act 2000.
Plaintiff's lawyer Dixon Kayuk from Kayuk and Associates Lawyers said the China Harbour was charged for an extensive environmental damages caused and was penalized by the court and ordered to pay 3 million kina in penalties.
The court found that the company China Harbour Engineering was grossly negligent in its conduct, and as a result caused extensive damage to this land and the plaintiff's land. So therefore the court awarded a sum of 3 million for exemplary damages. Okay, exemplary or punitive damage is a form of punishment, or it's a form of a deterrent to China Harbour. It's a warning to China Harbour that what you did was wrong.
He added that the company blatantly refused to honor the court's order.
And we have warned China Harbour that you are already in breach of court order. And in several meetings, about 3 meetings that we held, they were trying to negotiate on the court amount, the amount that was ordered by the court. And our conclusion right now is that the Chinese company is now defying court orders, is paid lip service to the judicial system that we have, and that is of concern to us.
Several calls to China Harbour Engineering Company Limited were made, but were unsuccessful.
That's it, number I'm calling you.
Till now, the company has refused to take the court orders, let alone several attempts or calls made by the plaintiff and his lawyer, and also calls by EMTV News, but again no response was heard. PNG Power Limited has issued a strong warning to people who are using power without paying that they have established a team to look into this power theft issue and will charge people accordingly.
To drive revenue growth, PNG Power is actively pursuing initiatives to increase customer connectivity and address power theft. Through its amnesty campaign, PPL has identified over 20,000 customers consuming power without electricity meters. Chairman for PPL, Meg Ronald Nale, said PPL will not take power theft issues lightly.
We'll be launching a team to going house to house, checking on whether people are paying their bills, people are connected. If they're not connected, we will be taking measures. 2 weeks ago, we arrested a customer, and we are working slowly with the fraud squad, where people who PPL staff and customers who steal power, we will not only discipline our staff only, but we will also take criminal actions against them.
Due to this issue, Mr. Nale said PPL is pushing for the meter boxing initiative. He said this will assist in closely monitoring power theft issues.
Going against smart metering, where we are going up and seeing where, taking this initiative where that is translated in improving our cash flow. We are trying to move away from government pays where we wait. You pay as you use the service. And that's the thing we are trying to move away and improve on our cash flow.
PPL is also carrying out an organizational restructure aligned with the NEC decision on the matter that will eliminate role duplication, streamline salaries and wages, and establish an efficient organization focused on improved customer service. Mr. Nale said PNG Power Board is committed to ensuring PNG Power provides a reliable electricity service to its customers. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
22 families from the Games Village Police Barracks are appealing to the Police Commissioner David Manning and NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Commander Silva Sika to reconsider their decision on carrying out a planned eviction exercise tomorrow at the barracks. They are also calling for the Prime Minister James Marape to take necessary actions.
Games Village Police Barracks in Waigani in the nation's capital was full of disgruntled and confused families yesterday. These are the families of deceased and retired officers who are acting upon the Golden Handshake policy between the government and the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary. The eviction notice was served to them on August 1st by the NCD Metropolitan Command, giving them 6 days to vacate their houses. However, these families claim that Prime Minister James Marape identified that the RPNGC has no land title and certificate of ownership over the land where Games Village Police Barracks is currently located, adding that this is a vacant state land.
Released to NCD under the leadership of our good governor, Thomas Paco, for development of the city. And it has been subdivided, section allotment has been created, allocated to its tenants.
He said under the Police Force Act and the Constabulary Standing Order, the police barracks is located on one portion.
Village is not a barracks, it's a residential area and a suburb of its own, part of Tokarara and the Waigani suburb.
With the evidence of letter from the office of the Prime Minister James Marape, Mr. Duna echoed that the police hierarchy seems to defy orders from the Prime Minister's office and no response has come from the Commissioner's office and they are pursuing an eviction to take place. He said Prime Minister is still waiting for the formalities to be brought up to him through the Police Commissioner. Mr. Dunan added that RPNGC is using its administrative authority and suppressing the families.
Appealing to our good Prime Minister to come out and say something or stop the eviction from taking place.
MTV News understands an urgent appeal has also been filed in court. Meantime, attempts to get comments from the police hierarchy were unsuccessful. Lindy Suharupa, National MTV News.
National MTV News continues after the break with more stories. Stay with us. You're watching National MTV News. Prime Minister James Marape left for Australia this morning to visit a close friend who is currently hospitalised with a serious medical condition in Gold Coast and will return by tomorrow. In his absence, Deputy Prime Minister John Rosso will be the acting Prime Minister.
Before departing for Australia, Prime Minister James Marape reflected on this week's Parliament session. He highlighted the session's significance, particularly the presentation of crucial ministerial statements, including those related to education. In addition, Prime Minister Marape extended his appreciation to landowners of Pogera in Enga and Tari in Hela for their active participation in recent meetings. He assured Pogera landowners of their rightful benefits and the nation's shared gains. He emphasized that Pogera landowners who receive 15% equity and an additional 1% in royalties play an integral role in the success of the mine. The Pogera Development Forum, originally planned for 7th August, has been rescheduled and will now take place on August 14th in Wabek. The forum will involve landowners from provinces directly impacted by the mine, including Enga, Hela, Western and West Sepik provinces. He mentioned that later this year, they will also hold landowner forums with Wafi Golpu landowners and the Morobe provincial government. Prime Minister reassured all landowners of his commitment to addressing their concerns and upholding their rightful entitlements. Estagane, National MTV News.
The National Museum and Arts and Gallery held a swearing-in ceremony of their new Board of Trustees yesterday. The 5 trustee members bring to the board a wealth of experience and skills from their respective industries.
Yesterday, in a small yet significant ceremony witnessed by staff and family of the National Museum and Arts Gallery, 5 professionals took an oath and was sworn in by His Worship Magistrate Seth Tane. Addressing the trustees, Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, E.C. Henry Leonard, said that the cultural heritage of Papua New Guinea is a treasure that must be looked after and preserved for future generations, and that the trustees are the owners that entrust with that.
Our cultures, arts, history, national symbols and monuments, this define the identity, unity, and the conscience of what makes us a nation and people of distinct cultures. Look at this country. Look at it. How can you unite a country with so diverse cultures, languages and tribes? How can you unite a nation? The museum plays a very important role.
The 5 sworn-in are Terence Iva Moka, who is the president, Dr. Wari Leah Aimo, an anthropologist, Dame Monica Salter, who brings to the board a vast of experience and connection in business and the Rotary. Jason Giai, the youngest out of the 5 sworn in as a trustee, has a financial background that will surely help boost the board in his expertise, and Aki Tumu, the longest-serving member of the trustee board and owner of the Enga Cultural Center. Giving his closing remarks, new president of the Board of Trustees, Terence Iva Moka, thanked the preceding Board of Trustees and their work during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. Iva Moka, on behalf of the newly sworn-in members, assured the board and staff present of the trustee members continued commitment towards the National Museum and Arts Gallery for their term of 3 years.
Incredible team of men and women that I believe that can be able to help the museum and our partners to achieve the vision and the dreams that you want.
The trustees were called to work together and collaborate for the operation of the National Museum and Art Gallery. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, the Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, E.C. Henry Leonard, said that culture must be seen as a resource and not a social activity.
Culture is associated with people, and people are the resource of the nation. Minister E.C. Henry Leonard said culture is a great resource for the nation and will create economic benefits.
Migrate culture. Economic sector. Don't see culture, now put him underneath the social sector. Migrate it away from social sector, put him go inside the economic sector and view culture as a resource. Resource that is sustainable. Resource that you can make him. You don't have to reinvent it.
Minister Leonard says the country cannot only depend on its natural resource. Once all natural resource is out, the country will be left with nothing.
Let us remind ourselves that one day our gold and oil will finish. When you are done, then your culture will no longer be there. As long as you are alive, your culture will thrive and strive and will exist. This is the greatest wealth that we ever have.
He urged the new Board of Trustees to take their new roles seriously, as they are the trustees to safeguard the cultural heritage for the next generations. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
NESFund Contributor Savings and Loans, NCSL, will now reach its members nationwide with its resumption on using both Digicel and Telecom network. Acting CEO Kit Raimo said this is a great outcome, as members can now access mobile banking in more rural and urban areas as the service becomes available to both Telecom and Digicel users throughout the country. NCSL is committed to constantly improving savings service offerings and customer experience for its members. An urgent appeal was made for the restructure of the National Museum and Arts Gallery. Acting Director Alois Kuaso made this appeal yesterday during the official swearing-in ceremony of the new board members of trustees of the National Museum and Arts Gallery. He said that the museum needs restructure and also funding for its annual expenditures for running and upkeeping and salary for its employees.
Restructure is in 2018-19. We submit with TPM and went to the SCMC, Salaries Monitoring Committee, and they knock it back this year. And they want us to address some anomalies and technical issues. That's why we have to resubmit again. So we are talking to them to provide guidance on this so that we do the restructure. We hopefully will get it done by end of the year, and it will go back to SMC and get approval in next year's budget. Probably not likely, but it will be a 2025 budget.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. A Chinese medical team attached with the Port Moresby General Hospital yesterday visited Yeku village in Kairuku district of the Central Province to celebrate a miraculous journey of the recovery of baby Taylor.
In a heartwarming celebration yesterday, family members of baby Taylor, village elders, esteemed guests, and members of the community came together to commemorate a significant milestone of baby Taylor's 100th day since birth. Baby Taylor's life began with a severe respiratory failure that threatened his existence a few months ago. However, with the combined effort of the China medical team at Port Moresby General Hospital, cutting-edge techniques such as ventilation and advanced medical care was carried out to save his precious life. From the moment baby Taylor came under their care, the dedicated staff knew that every second was crucial, and they worked tirelessly day and night to provide baby Taylor with the best possible care, and now Taylor's journey to recovery has been a miraculous one. Deputy Captain of the 12th China Medical Team and Associate Professor of Pediatrics at Port Moresby General Hospital, Dr. Chen Zhou Lui, who led the team, emphasized the importance of neonatal care and the need for timely and correct neonatal resuscitation, prenatal checks, and access to neonatal ventilators. He added that every newborn represents hope and the future of a nation. Dr. Lu shared how witnessing the loss of another baby to respiratory failure in the past had urged him to make a difference and improve neonatal care in PNG. And baby Taylor's survival through the use of specialized neonatal ventilator demonstrates the urgent need for more of these devices across the country. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. This weekend saw round 16 of the PNG NRL where games were played in Port Moresby and Lae. These rounds are a do-or-die round where teams battle to secure their places in the finals.
The NRL Round 16 started off yesterday with the first games played in Port Moresby between the Central Dabaris and the Kimber Carters, where the Dabaris won the match 36 points to 14. For today, 3 games were played in the Santos National Football Stadium in Port Moresby. The Gurias played against the Mount Hagen Eagles, which saw the Gurias winning the match. Goro Kalanis managed to secure their place in the final matches after beating new franchise the Civic Pride with points 26 to 16. In Lae, the Lae Snakes Tigers beat the Monu Plus NCD Port Moresby Vipers with a 10-point difference. The two afternoon games for Port Moresby and Lae are between the Enga Mioks and the Gulf Isau in Lae and the Hela Wigman versus the Mandy Muruks in Port Moresby. The PN General 2023 season is almost to its final matches. Cynthia Maku, Trukai Sports.
It was announced in the last PNG Games that the 8 PNG Games will be hosted by Southern Highlands Province in Mendi. However, the PNG Games Council withdrew the games from Mendi due to sports venue preparations falling behind schedule and would not be ready as anticipated. This was according to Sports Minister Don Pollier's speech delivered by the Chief Executive Officer for PNG Sports Foundation, Albert Veratau.
At the closing ceremony of the 2017 7th PNG Games in Kimbe West, New Britain Province, it was announced that the 8th PNG Games will be hosted by Southern Highlands Province in 2020. Following that, the national government funded the development of new sports facilities in Mendy's Southern Highlands Province, commencing 2019. However, due to various reasons, including COVID-19, Mr. Veratau said, Games was deferred to 2021, then to 2022. The 8th PNG Games is now confirmed to be played here in Port Moresby by end of this year.
For a start, PNG Sports Foundation spent 23 or 24 million towards construction of the South Islands venues. Now, that 24 million came out of the government to the PNG Sports Foundation, to the contractor to build whatever has been built. Now, obviously, 24 million is a very small amount of money. We know where it's been spent, so we've already agreed for that. Yeah? We have done a lot of visits, project site visits. There's a lot of materials on the ground today that were bought in preparation of construction. 2 years of COVID obviously put a dent in the progress of the construction. The venues just need to be constructed, basically that. And unfortunately, there is not enough money to be able to pay for the construction, the labor, all the expertise that you need in order to construct the venues. So that's where we are today. So the 24 million that went into from us has been upgraded. We know where that money has been spent, and we are happy with that. We need to pursue our government until we complete those venues, because those venues belong to the Southern Islands Province people, not the government. The sportsmen and women own those assets, and they need to be completed. So we're working on that.
PNG Sports Foundation made a request to the PNG Games Council Executive Committee to host these games as a salvage plan after almost 6 years. Estagane, Trukai Sports.
The Netball World Cup, currently underway in Cape Town, South Africa, yesterday saw 9 competitions between Scotland and Wales for the 9th and 10th placings, while Jamaica took on Australia for a placing in the finals.
So the two sides getting ready. Head down onto the centre court. The crowd.
Day 9 competition saw Team Jamaica put on a good fight against the Australia Diamonds. Both teams showed enormous grit getting into the top 5, but the game ended with Australia coming out on top with 57 points to Jamaica's close running by 54. Australia's goalkeeper Courtney Bruce took home the Telecom Spa Player of the Match. Going to the final, Team Australia will go up against England, who had beat Team New Zealand in the first semi-final to end the 10-day tournament. Meanwhile, in the game between Scotland and Wales, Team Wales came out on top with a tough 57 points against Scotland's 42 in the battle for 9th place. Natasha Ovoy, Trukai Sports.
That ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby and Daru, mostly fine. Kerema, cloudy periods with some showers. Alatau, mostly fine and windy. Popondetta, partly cloudy with a chance of a shower or two. In the Momase region, all centers partly cloudy with chances of evening shower or two. And in the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, partly cloudy with chances of evening shower or two. KVN, cloudy periods with few showers. Kokopo and Rabaul, cloudy with rain showers and possible thunderstorm. Kimbe, partly cloudy with few evening rain drizzles. Buka, cloudy periods with rain showers and thunderstorm. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, cloudy periods with some showers. Goroka and Kundiawa, cloudy periods with few showers. Mendi and Wabeg, cloudy with few showers.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Sunday, the 6th of August, 2023. Coming up next is a closer look program. Stay tuned for that. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Good night.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.